How's it going, MGTOW brothers? Out here at the Palisades in New Jersey. Got my coffee and looking down at the abyss. Crazy, actually. I haven't been here in a very long time. We used to come here as kids to go hiking. It's got really nice trails, and it goes obviously along the coast. New Jersey, that's the New York side. Obviously, that place is flat, so everybody comes to the New Jersey side. A lot of people actually come here to do bird watching. I'll never understand why, but I guess if that's your job or if that's your passion, then it is what it is. But looking down, you can see, my God, probably about 300 feet down, probably like 400 feet above the water line. So I think I'm gonna take my petty ass back here before something bad happens and I fall down. But on this one, I want to talk about something, right? And it's always been on my mind, but I've never actually shared it with anybody. I've never told anybody about it, right? And it had dramatic effects on my life, for a very long time, until I finally, accepted the fact that, it wasn't, it really wasn't my fault, right? And that is, and I don't know, I've never talked about it, so I don't really know how you start this kind of stuff. But I always thought about doing it just to protect other people, that's gone through the same kind of stuff. Now this obviously kind of relates to, no matter if you're a boy, girl, and that is the fact that when I was young, about 9 years old, I was basically, not basically, but I was molested. Right? I was molested by two women, right? That were that were part of the family, like family friends and all this and that. And it happened 4 times when I was 9 years old, give or take, sometime around there. And like that day, I mean, like even today, right? Thinking about it, I could never take that image out of my mind. It's always been stuck with me. And it also, it was also one of the main reasons why I turned out to be the kind of person that I turned out to be. And that was basically, becoming a emotionless, it would be fair to say an emotionless monster, where I was just, using women just for the sex as a punishment, right? To punish them for what they had done to me. But the first time that, like when it happened, right? I was home, and it was just us, and they basically stood me up, and they dropped down my pants, and obviously I didn't know what the hell was going on, right? So I was young, 9 years old, no clue what the hell's going on, obviously, I didn't think of it like being something serious, because they're with family, they're family friends, so they're coming out eating, doing all that kind of stuff. So you're not looking at it being something weird until things become a little bit further. And then obviously, they started touching, and then they basically grabbed my hand and made me touch the vagina and all that kind of stuff. And I remember it was like the weirdest thing ever, right? Because obviously I had no idea what I was doing or what the hell was going on or what was happening, right? But it was weird, right? And even back then it was weird. And so basically, that the first time, and then the other 3 times that it happened, I can somewhat remember them. But I think I kind of started to block that crap out, you know, obviously because it was, I mean, as a child, you're being traumatized, right? And I mean, like realistically, that experience, like for a very long time, it dictated the way I lived my life. Like during that time, I had, like I was obviously shy. I became very shy. I became very embarrassed. And then I developed a eating habit where I wouldn't eat. And basically, 9 years old, I was around, 50 pounds. And so my parents would literally have to, literally force feed me so I can eat. But I never told anybody. Nobody actually knows till this day, right? Obviously, one is because, well, you can always see, how people treated the situation, right? Like even in school, when you're in school, right? Like during sex ed and all that stuff, you learned that only women can get sexually molested or sexually assaulted, but it doesn't happen to boys, right? And then everybody says, like how lucky boys are that a teacher, wants to, have sex with them or touch them or do anything that's inappropriate. And so obviously, you just learn to bottle it up and suck it up and try to live with that experience. But I mean, like to say that I wasn't angry, to say that I wasn't, I don't know, distraught, I suppose. I mean, I don't know if I would use that kind of word. I really don't know how to explain it, right? Because it's hard to explain something unless it's actually ever happened to you. And obviously, I hope it doesn't happen to anybody. But when it does happen to people, and the people that it does happen to, I don't know, it changes a person. It really does, right? And then as you get older, it changes you even more, because you think about, and then like you start to realize that the people close, the people that are close to you and people that are far to you, that these people can do something like this to you, right? And and unfortunately, there's no going back from it. That's the messed up part, right? Once that happens to you, I've never been to a therapist and all that. I had to work through it internally. And unfortunately, like throughout all my relationships, I was in a emotionless monster. I was the bad boy, but I never told anybody why. Right? It's not that I didn't, it's not that I didn't want to love anybody. It's not that I didn't want to. It's not that I didn't want to be affectionate. It's not that I didn't want to be emotionally available with the women. I just couldn't trust them, right? I literally couldn't trust them, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it was a woman that had destroyed me, right? Well, it was two women that destroyed me, right? But it was them. And then suddenly, society is expecting me to, forgive and forget and, be with somebody like this. And then obviously their actions and all that kind of stuff obviously further reinforced my justifications and my suspicions of why I can't trust women and why I can't do any, like I can't be emotionally, vulnerable. I have to be guarded to the point where, like every relationship I have ever had, which is another reason why being a MGTOW wasn't that hard for me. Like every relationship that I had, like the girls, like I was just literally punishing them, right? Because all I was doing is just, having sex with them, which is exactly what, the other women tried to do with me, right? Now, obviously they couldn't have sex with me because, I'm a little kid. You can't do anything with a 9-year-old kid. But I took out that anger for a long time, one on myself, right? And it took a long time. It took years and years before, I finally got my eating habits. And I'm still, I'm still very skinny, right? So I mean, you can see it, right? Like, I don't know if I ever recovered it, I guess, from it. I don't eat that much, but not as a punishment. I mean, like the body's just used to it, so I just